Blessings to everybody out there on this Martin Luther King Day. We are broadcasting live at his soccer over there. We are always broadcasting from the Brewhouse right here in beautiful Atlanta, Georgia. And I am joined by my esteemed colleagues. We've moved up. They're not just amazing colleagues. They are now esteemed colleagues. Mr. John Nelson.
Check.
Mr. Jason Longshore.
Yo.
I'm taking an L today, guys. I don't like taking L's.
Write the day and the time down. 1/20/20.
You're saying that like it never happens?
I'm just saying that it's not a regularity. You know, it's not.
So this is an irregularity.
This is an irregularity. Look, okay, Jason, you can say whatever you want, sir. You can say whatever you want.
I think the part that's so funny about it is it's not just that you're taking an L; it's your own team giving you the L.
Wow.
It's my own team giving me the L. So I said previously that I think that the signing of Zlatan was pretty much setting money on fire. There was nothing that was going to come from this, and if it would take a miracle for them to move up in the table because Torino and Parma were going to be steady and consistent, and there was no way that they were going to get up to the 5-6 spot. Guys, they're 2 points outside of the 6th place right now.
Therefore,
which is the Europa League spot. Parma lost. Cagliari drew, and Torino lost. Verona drew.
So you're saying basically no one wanted to do anything.
Nobody wanted to do anything. Milan, winners in the last two. They are at 28 points now. They're at 8th in the table. Absolutely bonkers. I never thought this would happen, and here we are. I officially, gentlemen, take my L.
Temporarily.
I'm taking my L for the moment. It's an important thing. I've been working through this. You know, it takes a lot. In my advanced 39 years of age, to be willing to accept an L. I'm accepting this right now. I have my Milan T-shirt on underneath my Atlanta United hoodie.
See, we can't verify this. We're just going on his word that this is in fact how he
hasn't turned his back on his team. No, that was never the thing.
No. I've never.
He just questioned them severely.
I severely questioned them. I have not turned my back on AC Milan, but.
Unlike myself when it comes to college football.
Look, you should. Look, this is not the direction that we wanted to start the show off, but I have no problem saying it that in this world of multi-billion-dollar corporations and questionable sponsorships and team activity, you are 100% within your rights to drop your squad at any point, but just be ready to catch heat for it. It's like the freedom of speech. You could say just about whatever you want, but somebody else has the right to completely check you and make fun of you endlessly for what you have to say.
Freedom of speech does not free you from freedom of consequence.
Correct.
Yes, and you can ignore those people who mock you and say things.
Right. I used to work for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right? I worked for them the season before they went to the Super Bowl and the season they went to the Super Bowl. And when a whole string of things went south with them, I formed what I called the Commission, which are 10 of my friends who are psycho sports fans, and I laid out my case. And the rules put forth, which I think everyone should adopt, of course, is that the team that you selected to move to could not have won a championship in the past 2 years, right?
Okay.
And you had to at least be able to attend one game, like within like a certain period of time, like a reasonable period of time, not like one time in your life. Mm-hmm. But you had to within a reasonable period of time.
So there was a self-imposed time frame that you had to go see a game.
Correct. So like if you picked the 49ers within like a 3-month period, you had to be able to go and see a Niners game. If you picked Philly, you had to go and be able to travel to see Philly live.
So a lot of folks were either picking Miami, Jacksonville, or Atlanta.
I'm just saying, like at the time that I picked this, the Falcons did not make the Super Bowl. Right at this point, this is before the infamous 28-3 bowl, and I ended up selecting the Falcons as a result, right, because they were in a period of a little bit of
being the Falcons.
Yeah, being the Falcons, and so it was something. But I think that's something that you can do if you want to change your team. And you feel bad about it, and you want a little bit of release from this internal guilt of giving your squad up. Get 10 of your friends, call it the commission. You can organize it all on your DMs or whatever. Lay out your case quite clearly, and then a basic majority vote says, hey, either we greenlight you to move your team without mockery and without guilt, you may move on, or you can move on and we're just going to make fun of you endlessly.
Yeah, and both are fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a little hard when you're talking about international teams, or if your team locally has just turned into a hot dumpster fire of garbage, and you decide, you know what, I'm not doing this to myself anymore. Mm-hmm. I'm going to support the team that's on the other end of the country. And maybe you can't make it over there, but there's some reason you can justify why you would support that team. If it's a guy from your college, favorite player, something about it, favorite coach, whatever. You've got to be able to state your case.
Yeah.
And you can do it, because being a fan is personal. And I think that's the thing that a lot of people miss, especially in our soccer world.
Yes.
There's these unwritten rules, like you're governing baseball or something, and we don't have buzzers, by the way. So there's these unwritten rules about, like, to be a fan, you have to do X, Y, and Z, and you can't do this, and you can't do that, and you can only like one team, and blah, blah. No. You can do whatever you want to do to enjoy your time watching the sport that you want to watch.
Correct.
There's no rules about it.
No. John,
and as the caveat for college football, I have not changed. I've just completely and totally just disassociated. I have not changed allegiances because it is my alma mater.
Okay. No, see, that makes sense. I do find it hard for SEC fans if you have cheered for an SEC team in the past.
Oh, yeah, that's not going to happen.
I like people, like if you were, if you're out of the blue an LSU fan now, people are going to, be like, hey,
that's bandwagoning.
I remember when you wore Auburn clothes. I remember when you had that orange and blue. That's going to be there. I think SEC, you're just sort of almost stuck. You can't really.
No matter what you do, you're going to get stuck. Yeah. But I mean, if you, and this happens plenty in this region, if you go to one school and then you go to a different school for grad school, or get a master's somewhere, or start working at a different school, things get complicated.
Yes.
And that happens, and that's completely fine. It's, when you decide, I don't like Arkansas anymore. I like LSU because they just won a national championship.
No, that's disallowed. That's a buzzer.
You're going to get mocked. I mean, do you? If that's what you want to do, if Arkansas makes you that sad that you want to do that to yourself, and go for it. That's fine. Yeah. But you're going to get mocked. I mean, if you can justify it, maybe you can lessen the mocking.
Now, there have been moments of temptation, gentlemen, to be sure. There have been moments of temptation. Roma follows me on Twitter. Right, which is that's hard, man. Roma follows me on Twitter. I have to say that their David Bowie Lightning kit this year
it's pretty nice.
Is very sweet, and their blue third jersey with the collar is just, chef's kiss. It is absolutely beautiful. Took a lot not to buy one, guys, when I was over there. Took a lot. I had to do a gut check moment. He's still among us, but the Force Ghost of Maldini appeared before me.
Yeah, that's about right.
When I was in the Roma shop, and he said, "Look, you can buy one for your kid, but you're not buying one for yourself. The captain has spoken," and he vanished. I mean, there's nothing verifiable on this. There was no security video of Maldini's Force Ghost appearing to me, but I'm just saying that it happened. I saw it, and it worked out for me. But good for Milan. They're handling their business. They're an 8th. Enter. Remember, that was the garlic bread pick of the week. Game of the week was Lecce versus.
Lock of the week.
It was. Yes.
Was Enter.
No, it wasn't a lock of the week. I think it was a must-watch.
Must-watch of the week because you had Conte returning home to the team that he came up with, and if you saw the article that I posted, that showcased really the rise of Antonio Conte, and how when he played for Juventus, he scored against Lecce and celebrated, which you don't do. You absolutely do not do. And he is still persona non grata in that town. In case you missed it, either the Crumpets and Espresso, or if you didn't read the article, the man had a charity match in his own hometown, and the Ultras showed up and threatened physical harm to Conte because they will not let it go. They absolutely will not. And there's this thing called Sicilian Alzheimer's, where you just don't remember anything but the grudges. and that I'm expanding that now. It's just Italian Alzheimer's. You just don't
Mediterranean Alzheimer's.
Yeah, Mediterranean Alzheimer's. Yeah, we remember only the grudges. And Dr.
Understood.
Wifey has said this repeatedly. She's like, you really seem to hold on to grudges more than anyone else I think I've ever seen. And I'm like, yes, it's genetically pre-coded. There's nothing we can do about this.
So then let me ask you this.
Yeah.
If the commission existed today,
Yeah.
what would be that other team that you might be leaning toward in Serie A?
Oh, it'd be Roma.
Okay.
It'd be Roma, without question.
Because they followed me on Twitter.
Yeah. Well, they have the best social media account in sports. I mean, when they do a transfer announcements and they do a 50-50 split screen, and the other side is help find this missing child.
That's fantastic.
And then they actually find missing children with this. It's amazing. Like, who else is doing this? Like, why isn't every other team in Serie A doing this? It just blows my mind. I will say that because I have family who played for them, and it's not Serie A. I mean, they're like in Serie D, barely hanging on to existence. But Siracusa is the team that will forever and ever and ever have my heart, forever and ever, regardless of whether it's a bunch of kids from the pub who've signed up to play, or the local pizzeria who signed up to play. I don't care.
But see, that's different to me, and this is something that I don't understand about the world of it, and it's probably because I grew up here and we didn't have teams when I was a kid, so like my soccer fandom's all over the place. I'm a mutt with it. But if you have a team like Milan, and that's your team, and you have a local tie to a smaller team that is probably never going to be on the same field.
Oh, never.
Like, there's no reason why there should even need to be a qualifier. Like,
right.
And I'm the same way with, I think MLS fans should, if you're in a smaller town and you like an MLS team outside of your town, but your small town has a team, you should support your local team.
Exactly.
Too.
Yep.
You can do both,
Yeah.
especially when they're not going to be in the same universe.
Right.
They might face each other in a cup game or something, and then it's a fun derby for you, and you have fun with it. But that's okay. It's okay, I think, to like more than one team if they're on different levels.
Right. And so, yeah, like if you're in Chattanooga, or if you are in Birmingham, and you want an MLS team to support, it's by all means cheer for Atlanta United if you so wish, or Nashville, or whoever else you want to cheer for. But don't give up that local smaller club if don't make anyone put you in a situation. Nobody puts baby in a corner, right? Nobody puts your local team in the corner.
Don't feel like either way. Like if you like your local team and you watch MLS and you like a team, grabs your attention, cool. Like you can like both, especially here where you don't have promotion or relegation and it's a different setup altogether.
Right.
Again, you might have an Open Cup game and then it's all kinds of fun.
It's just something where I wish that the Conti situation with Lecce is. It's weird because he shouldn't be the villain. Like, he should have just been like, hey, look, I'm sorry it happened. But there were a lot of missed opportunities for him to apologize. And by the time that he got around to actually saying, hey, I won't celebrate this go around, the damage was already done. It was toxic. And not to mention, they do play in the same league now. So, yeah. But I say all this because you just feel free to give up your team should there be issues that you need to jump with. And I expect hate on my Twitter account. You're supporting fair weather fans and all that mess. Hey, look, man, I sat through a lot of success with AC Milan. I watched some of the best to ever do it put on the Rossonero and play. FIFA World Players of the Year, World Cup champions, people who are heroes for the team but are actually mercenaries. Pirlo, and I love Pirlo. I do, but he's a mercenary. I have no problems with it. The guy's making wine in Italy now. Doing commercials for Heineken. He's getting paid a ton of cash, which is his dream anyway. But Maldini, Baresi, Costa Curta, all of it. You can't walk away I couldn't walk away cleanly. So, yes, they suck right now, but they seem to be on a bit of an upswing, and I'm riding with it. So, it is what it is. But the rest of Serie A shaking out like this, Juve, yet again, seems to be pulling away from the pack because Conti decided to have zero home cooking when he was with Lecce, and now they've dropped down. They've drawn in their past 2 games at 47 points. Lazio unbeaten in their last 5. Inzaghi has those boys flying. I mean, say whatever you want about their ultras, but the team on the field is doing a lot right now. One team that's not doing anything is Napoli, and rumors are trickling out of Naples.
I'm sad.
Are they trickling, or is it more than a trickle?
Right now it's trickling because he really can't do anything about it. So there are rumors coming out of Naples that Aurelio De Laurentiis wishes he could fire one Mr. Gennaro Gattuso and reappoint Carlo Ancelotti. However, King Carlo,
kind of hard to do that.
He's gainfully employed. That's what happens sometimes when in relationships, when we let a good person go. And in our mind, we think, "Ha! I'm jettisoning this rubbish. I'm kicking it out of the airlock in the sci-fi movies. You be away with you." And then all of a sudden, scoop! Somebody else picks it up and runs with it. Well, congratulations, friend. You feel just like Aurelio De Laurentiis does right now, as Napoli losers of their last 3. They have I don't think there's any hope for him. And it's not the manager. I think that's what he's learned here. It's not the manager. It's the players.
I was going to say it's systemic at this point.
It is systemic because you have a team that, and keep in mind, this is for the past few years, they were at the top of the table. Mm-hmm. They were right there contending. And Maurizio Sarri was able to get a ton out of this team. Carlo Ancelotti was not able to get quite as much out of this team, but the players were older. They didn't reinforce quickly enough. And, to be honest, it wasn't the best situation walking in. Now that Gattuso's been handed the reins, and people are naturally saying, as we talked about previously, oh, Gattuso's a crummy manager because they can't seem to get it right. Well, Gattuso had this Milan team that's currently sitting in 8th. He had them contending for a Champions League spot. The guy's not a horrible manager.
No.
He's not a game-changing manager. He's not someone who's going to come in and, not yet.
Maybe he turns into that.
But right now he's not there. He's more of that motivational rah guy. And, tactically he's getting there. He's just not there yet. But De Laurentiis is going to have to figure something out because you're in 11th right now. You have 24 points. And then you have a string of teams below him, including Bologna and Fiorentina and Udinese, all sitting at 24. Fiorentina's racing up the ranks. I mean, they've winners of the last 2. They seem to be, a team that's putting it together. Chiesa is soaring. I mean, it's a side that they beat Napoli 2-0. The players look happy. Under Montella, they looked miserable. Players were getting subbed out. There were near fights as the players were coming off because they were so angry. Chiesa looked like he was ready to go anywhere but the city of Florence. And now you have Chiesa coming like, you want me to sub off the bench? Great, no problem. Happy to do it. You want me to do this? You want me to do that? Great, no problem. And it's a change in leadership, and kudos to Rocco Commisso for understanding that the time is now to make changes. We have to, switch things up dramatically. We have to bring new players in, and it's easy to try to make these changes when things are an absolute dumpster fire. But at the same time, guys, to make a move for like Cotrone out of nowhere, hey, we're going to make this move. What? Fiorentina? You're going to? Yeah. Okay, what? You're bringing in Kevin Prince Boateng? You're bringing in Franck Ribéry? What? I mean, it all has to start somewhere, and Commisso seems to be making moves that are benefiting immediately. And
here's my question, though.
Yeah.
All right, you plant those seeds, you get the moves that are paying off immediately with veterans.
Right.
Are they building anything for the long haul, or are they getting the bounce from veteran guys who might have a few games left? Has Fiorentina turned into a retirement club?
It looks that way, but I will say no, because for the following reason, and that is you have a player like Chiesa on there. The key is getting him to stay long term. And Rocco says Patrick Cotrone is going to be somebody who's going to be staying with us for a long time. If Chiesa wants to leave, he can leave, but the price has to be right. And that to me means they are going to be, if they move Federico, they will be in conversations going forward for a lot of younger talent that is going to be coming from places like Spal, from Brescia. I will not be shocked if they're in the conversation for Tonali. I know that Juve is going to be there. Milan, with whatever credit card they want to max out, they're going to be there. Inter will be there. But don't be shocked if Rocco comes in out of nowhere with a mind-bending bid and to scoop up some of this younger talent that's out there.
A couple of other transfer headlines. Inter has raised their Eriksson bid to £11 million plus bonuses.
Yeah,
Tottenham still wanting 20?
Probably.
That was the last that I saw.
But hey, Inter, they understand where they are right now. You know, they need to bring in reinforcements. There seems to be a bit of a stall at the moment. You need some fresh blood coming in. You got to make these kind of moves. And I think if you're Spurs, you have to. I mean,
you got to get something.
Got to get something.
They might take it down to the wire to get the most they can.
Right.
But they got to get something.
I think the move gets done.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
Liverpool will not let Shaqiri join Roma.
Smart move. I want nothing. If I'm Liverpool, if Wednesday we're eating like pickled herring on Wednesday, congratulations. The Wednesday meal going forward is pickled herring. We are changing nothing. Absolutely nothing. I mean, everything stays exactly the same. Nothing upsets the apple cart. And if I have a player who, you know, I don't care how much he's starting. I don't care how much he's coming off the bench. I don't care if he's only getting 2 minutes a game. Like, you know, the come in and wave appearance in the 89th minute. He's not leaving.
Fair enough. Let me ask you this. We talked about it this morning on SDH. Is Liverpool potentially the best team ever in the Premier League?
That is a mighty, mighty strong question. I don't like. I say there's a couple of buts. We've seen a Man City team that for when they were smashing everybody, the same question was floated. I think if you can float the same question in a 5-year period, it's very hard to say yes without question. This is the greatest team. They have an argument with it. They have an argument to say yes, we are the greatest team in Prem history. You can make that argument, but I am not ready to crown them. I'm not ready to crown them. Finish the drill.
We have a question from the floor.
Question from the floor.
Or statement.
Not a question. Question to you guys. So they might be the greatest, but would they have beaten Mourinho's Chelsea?
Oh, that's a good one.
That's the Mourinho's Chelsea, Gen 1. We're talking Gen 1. Yeah, Gen 1 Chelsea.
I'm talking winners, not best. Winners.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first year, too, because he went back-to-back on the league the first 2 years, right? And it was different. That's where I come back to for Liverpool. I think if they do the double this year, if they do a record number of points in the Premier League and they do a second Champions League, it's going to be hard not to put them there. But how much of that is down to the Premier League having a down year as a whole? Because I'm leaning that way.
I think the and rest in peace to my mentions. I think that Chelsea team may beat them.
I'm kind of leaning that way, too.
I think that Chelsea team may beat. They had a grit about them.
Yeah, they would not have lost.
Right.
Yeah.
Not lose to anyone.
That's exactly where I'm at. Is I don't know if they wouldn't have dominated Liverpool. I think this Liverpool team's that good, but I don't know if Liverpool would have beaten them.
Yeah, I think there may have been just a little too much muscle on that Chelsea side. I think there may have been they just had a grit about them that they were not afraid of anyone.
Yeah,
and that the mentality counts, and that was Mourinho at the height of his powers. When he could dissect a game plan and say, here's exactly how we stop it.
And I mean, if you go back and read some of the interviews from players in that period, he would tell them going into a game, like, this is what's going to happen. You're going to do this because it's going to work in the second half, and it would happen. And players were like, is he psychic? I mean, It was to that degree. He knew everything inside and out.
So the question is then, if because we've already immediately had our but come in, and a very effective one at that. Who is the best Prem team of all time, if it is not this Liverpool side?
I mean, the contenders off the top of my head the Invincibles of Arsenal.
Yep.
You have to put him in.
Last year's Manchester City team.
Yes. Last year's runner-up in Liverpool, even though
no, they can't be because you can't. The runner-up can't be better than the team that won the title.
All right.
We're not having. No, they can't. They didn't win the title
because you were number 2.
That's
They
the
can't be.
That's the UCF argument.
When we're getting to this, they can't be ahead of the team that won.
99 Man U.
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
The treble-winning team, and I loved that team. I don't think that team was as good as Manchester City last year, Liverpool this year, or the Invincibles.
But serial winners.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
they were different. Like
Yes.
that's what's weird about them is I think like if you put them in a league with the rest of those teams, I don't know if they would be the team on top. I don't think they would be. But in their time,
Yes.
in big games, they won every time.
But yeah, and the thing is, they called it Fergie time for a reason. If the Ferguson side is level or down 1 going into like the 75th minute, 80th minute, there's nothing off the table.
Yeah.
I mean,
No.
they were, again, grit and mentality count for something in this sport. So
Glasgow Rangers 92 and kind of old.
There you go.
Oh, there we go.
Jared,
I like it. Cheers to that. Okay.
Nice.
Jared on
Good
line
pull.
1.
I
Thank
like
you,
it.
Sir.
Well, then you can take it to another step, and if we're gonna play the best team ever game, let's play the best manager out of those groups because you're talking about a Jose Mourinho in his prime with Chelsea.
Well. Yep.
You're talking about, I think, Alex Ferguson in his prime with Manchester United, although
Yeah.
that could be debated.
Yep.
Pep Guardiola at his best with Manchester City. Jurgen Klopp at his best with Liverpool. Arsene Wenger at his best with Arsenal.
Wow.
Who was the best manager in Premier League history in that time, like in a year? So this is where I don't think the Manchester United team was the best team. I don't think
Right.
they're going to stack up to the others, but Ferguson doing a treble and the way he did it, I
Yeah.
could put him up for the best managerial job in
Yeah.
this time frame.
Yeah.
Because I think he had, I mean, obviously you're talking about teams that have a ton of talent. I think that team had less talent than these others. Maybe
Yeah.
the Chelsea team, maybe they're on the lesser end of the talent. I don't think you can argue about the talent that Manchester City and Liverpool have had the
No.
last couple of years.
Yeah.
The Arsenal Invincibles, to have that run, that's coaching at a different level.
Yeah.
That's management at a different level because, there will be squad rotations. There will be, times when you're not going to be at your best. The conditions are going to be crap. And yet you had, and I think he gets so much crap by the way his career ended in that stagnant form. But at the same time, it is hard. It is very hard to discount Arsene Wenger in that conversation. And Sir Alex Ferguson, not just one of the best managers of all time, but probably one of the greatest leaders of there's a reason why schools and organizations pay that man stupid amounts of money to come in and give talks. And, it's anytime that he writes a book, anytime he says a word, you better be listening because you're going to get some gold from it.
Yeah.
I have a hard time, though, walking away from Arsene Wenger as the best.
I just look at the trophies, and that's probably why I lean the other
That's
way.
valid.
Is
It's 100% valid.
To be able to go through that gauntlet at the end and win those trophies because the schedule was crazy. They had to fight for the Premier League all the way down to the wire.
Yeah.
Win an FA Cup, and then deal with absences due to suspension in the Champions League final and win it the way they did. I'll go that way. We're talking big picture about Liverpool, Manchester City, and the greatest of all time. Tony Meola on Counterattack today had a really interesting point, and it was asked earlier today on SDH about what Atlanta United could do to emulate what Liverpool's doing. And I went at it more from the school of thought of the managers. Like, they come from different schools. They overlap some, and obviously you can learn from people in different schools than you, but they come from different schools. And I thought Meola really nailed it. He said, with Manchester City and Liverpool, like this year, and honestly over the last couple of years, you're talking about teams that can win any which way. They can win games no matter what you do. But how they like to win games and how they're built to win games, Manchester City likes to score goals that have 20 passes. Liverpool likes to score goals that have 3. And that's the difference. Can Liverpool score goals out of 20-pass strings? Yes. Can Manchester City score goals on quick counters going direct with 3 passes? Yep. Mm-hmm. But the way they're built are not exactly opposite, but different.
Right.
And I think from an Atlanta United perspective, Frank de Boer wants to build the team more in the Pep Guardiola way because that's Ajax, that's Barcelona, that's his school.
Yes.
Jurgen Klopp is coming from the German school, which is all counterattack, and Pep himself, when he went to Bayern, had to adjust to that. Now, he brought Bayern playing a different way, not purely in that way of scoring on 3 passes on a regular basis, but they could do it. He had to adapt a little bit, and he did, and I think that's a credit to his managerial ability. But those are 2 very different ways of looking at the game. Top teams can do both, but how you want to do it is a big important thing here.
It is. And one thing I think we have to discuss is that, and you touched on it, Pep had to make adjustments. Pep had an idea of how he wanted to do things, and he made adjustments and was still very successful. Atlanta United with Frank de Boer, Frank said, "I want to win this way." Initially, there was a lot of problems there, and he adjusted, and the team ended up winning 2 trophies. It's one thing to be a mind-bendingly brilliant manager, brilliant leader, brilliant coach. The great ones can make alterations and tweaks and adjustments and take a team to a new level, maybe not in a way they wanted to. What's going to be very exciting and interesting for me this year with Atlanta United is how much of that Ajax influence do we get? Because when we were watching Ajax on that legendary Champions League run, and everybody was going nuts. Oh, my God, look how beautiful we play. And I saw a lot of hashtag ATLUTD mentions on Twitter of, this is the Ajax way.
The light comes on.
Oh, okay. I get it. And I'm not saying that that's not a put down to anybody who said that. If anything, it's a great thing because it was a lot of new fans who may not understand or watch Eredivisie and understand that Ajax model. Now, they may have seen how the Barcelona model went, but they may not have understood maybe the roots of that Barcelona system or the Pep Guardiola style, what the the genesis of that style was. Now you're starting to understand it. And for me, with Atlanta United, how much of that Ajax flavor comes in now? Not just the Ajax.
You saw a lot of it last year.
methodology.
Yeah, I think you saw a lot of it in different ways and different times. I think what's interesting about Atlanta is, you started with Tata Martino, who has a foot in both schools, kind of. Not so much from the counter-pressing of a Jurgen Klopp, but a pressing and vertical style. He's cool with that. He can do that. But he can also play a possession-based style. And you saw the 2018 team be a little more possession-based than the 2017 team. You saw Tata kind of go between the two. And I think Frank showed that he can do the same last year and went between the two, but he's coming from the other side leaning. So he's definitely more of the 20 passes to score a goal. That's the way he sees the game. That's the way he wants to control games. That's the way he wants to dominate. He can do the other side, but he wants to build a team to string possession together to control games in that manner rather than control games through lightning counters and vertical play. And Tata came at it from the other side. He was cool with vertical play, pressing, but he also realized that maybe in this league, especially, you wanted to control games more through that possession, and he went that way. So then Frank was coming at it from that way and had to lean the other way. So it's interesting how this happens, and I think Klopp especially at Liverpool, I think Klopp was more one-dimensional at Dortmund. And I think at Liverpool, when he first got there, that hurt a little bit. And it took some time to evolve. And it took some time to get some players in, too, obviously. And it's paid off. And that's not saying that Liverpool has bought the title. Don't start yelling. And that's okay if they did. They won the title. What are we freaking out about when people say that? Because I've seen Liverpool fans going at journalists who have insinuated that kind of thing. Look, they've spent money. They spent a lot of money. They've paid their players very handsomely. They spent a lot of money on transfer fees.
Yep.
That's okay.
Yeah.
They've built a great team, and Klopp has created a style now where he can bend against the way he sees the game a little bit more than he could maybe a couple years ago.
Nathan Pugh comes in on Twitter. He says, "Up the Reds, that is all."
He's probably yelling at me because I said Liverpool spends money. That's not a knock.
No.
I think I don't know why it's seen that way unless you just want to be the plucky upstarts and all that. But Liverpool's not that club to me. Like Liverpool, I still look at as a giant in the game, and it's the European titles, and it's what they did. A lot of it, yes, was pre-Premier League, but they still have that cachet, in my mind anyway, as a mega club. Mega clubs spend money, and that's okay. It's not a knock. It's not saying they bought their way. It's not even saying the way that people said that about Manchester City, which I think is unfair because at some point you're going to have to spend money to become that bigger club.
Yep.
I think a lot of people use that insult, though, with Man City. They said, oh, you bought all these guys. You were nothing. We remember when you were, and ...
So do they have to stay there? They can never be better than that?
You're not allowed to spend money to be better and improve your product.
Don't. Here's the thing, and I'm about to nuke my timeline here.
Here we go.
Don't scream at me
for the second time in this show.
Exactly. Don't scream at me about pro-rel and then sit there and question ambition. Don't because what you're saying is there's a caste system. I'm a fan of a top 4 team. The top 4 will forever be the top 4, and there shall not be any upstarts who will come in and do what it takes to win. And I'm going to use Fiorentina as the example. Fiorentina, ever has been a team that has been looked down upon. When they're competitive, they make Serie A better, but by and large, they have been a mid-table team recently to a lower end. They almost got relegated, right? Now, Camiso's coming in and spending money. I'm happy for him.
This is good.
Fiorentina's not my team. I will never wear purple and say, this is my team. And it's just not going to happen. But I understand that Fiorentina being competitive makes Serie A better because more tourists will go to Florence, and maybe they say, I love the city of Florence. Who's their soccer team? Oh, Fiorentina. I think I'm going to watch. I think I'm going to buy merch. This is a great thing. It benefits Serie A. It's the same thing with Leicester City. Somebody comes in, starts spending cash. The team goes on a miracle run. They win, right? And you have people, well, they're not a top 4 team. I don't care. I don't like them. Well, hey, you know what? Don't talk to me about Pro-Rel then. Because Pro-Rel is built on teams climbing the pyramid. And there's only one way in today's world, really, to climb the pyramid, and that is by spending money. Either developing young players, and you want to do it nice and slow, develop a whole crop of amazing youngsters and sell them, and then buy more expensive players. Great. Or you have a billionaire owner who comes in, dumps a ton of cash, makes your team relevant, and hopefully does it within the financial fair play requirements. But it's there. Who cares if you bought it? I don't care if you bought it.
Leicester was interesting because I think when they won it, people are like, oh, that's sweet. If it wasn't your team that was losing it, it's like, oh, that's sweet. That's nice.
Right.
Yeah.
If Leicester had won back-to-back, I think people would have started to get angry about it.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like when the Patriots got good.
Yes.
Because the Patriots were nothing.
Yeah.
No, they were not.
They went
Chuck
to
Fairbanks.
2 Super Bowls and were just bad.
Yes.
And then they hit on the right formula, and they got really good. And at first, it's like, oh, yeah, they beat the Rams. That's great. This is great. Oh, what a plucky underdog in Tom Brady, 7th-round draft pick. Yeah. And now?
People are tired of them.
And it's nothing to do with being in Atlanta. That's a nationwide thing.
No, this is a nationwide hatred.
No, but people forget.
It's funny.
Drew Bledsoe, the human statue, was their quarterback, right?
Yeah. He got injured.
Don't talk to me about...
Yeah, Wally Pipp.
Yeah, Andy Katzenmoyer, right? I'm sure a lot of people are like, huh? Yeah, Andy Katzenmoyer...
Use the Google machine.
Was one of their star draft picks, right? And that was like, well, we got this Andy Katzenmoyer kid. He's pretty good, you know. He's going to be great for the Patriots. It's going to be amazing. Maybe we'll make the top end of the AFC East, you know. And look at him now, right? I mean,
now they want to fire Belichick because they got knocked out in the playoffs.
It's hilarious. People are burning Tom Brady jerseys now in New England.
They're Tuscaloosa of the NFL.
It is.
It's so funny.
And the thing is, though, is that you have to have investment. And I don't care if it's by hook or by crook. If you get your investment and you become competitive, good on you. Now sustain it. That's the thing for me. Can you sustain it?
Well,
if Liverpool bought players, man, amen. Good for them.
Yeah, Fenway Sports Group. So let's see. Liverpool, Fenway Sports.
Yep.
Manchester City,
Yep.
Qatari Sheikhs.
Yep.
Leicester City.
That's a tie.
It's a Thai family that is big in import-export, I think. Chelsea, Russian oligarch. Manchester United, #Fire Woodward, has made its way onto Twitter this afternoon.
Yep.
I mean, come on. Like,
Blazers, right?
Just go. Just go, Ed. Just go.
And
I want that kid to be back on an interview, please.
Yes.
Because he
Yeah.
nailed it months ago.
He did.
Go.
And that's your top 5. Then you have the owners of Wolves and Sheffield United at 6 and 7. Spurs, Daniel Levy is the chairman of Spurs. Then you have Crystal Palace. Arsenal with Stan Kroenke is in 10th. Everton, and this was the cautionary tale that we were talking about with Everton. Everton at 11 and West Ham at 16. 19 and 20 in the Deloitte study that came out when it comes to revenue. But Everton right now, 9-figure loss operationally right now.
Yeah, all that money they're making is from TV. They're not really making money in anything else.
Nope.
So they're
Right.
not selling players. They're nothing commercially.
Nope.
Like, they're not doing much on match day. Like, it's just nothing outside of the TV money. And that's shocking. It's you've got to look at some of these clubs. There should be more English clubs in that Deloitte top 20 because the TV money is so ridiculous. And if they're not in there, they're being managed very poorly.
71% of Everton's expenditures are being used by TV money.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's probably a higher percentage of that of their revenue is TV money. And it's crazy. It's
Mike Ashley is still trying to sell Newcastle for the 38th year in a row.
Idiotic.
Yeah.
Whatever. All right, let's move on from this. You mentioned Ed Woodward, so let's go down the Manchester United rabbit hole for a minute. Okay, there's two things. So we've been hearing about Bruno Fernandes for what, like months? It feels like.
Yes.
On again, off again, on again, off again, on again, off again. Now Manchester United is saying that Sporting's transfer fee that they're looking for is inflated, and they don't want it. They got to do something. Like this whole idea of, well, that's more than we want to pay at this point. You got to do something. And I thought Roy Keane yesterday on Sky Sports after the match nailed it with what I've been saying for a while, and that could be Ole, it could be anybody right now. It could be Ryan Giggs, it could be Sir Alex Ferguson, it could be whoever you want managing that team.
Yep.
They're not good enough. They're not built the right way. It's not even just that they're not good enough. They don't have the right core of what they've built.
Nope.
They don't have those veterans. They don't have those leaders. I think it was pointed out that Harry Maguire was signed and given the armband, and that means that you don't have a leader there already, and you're asking him to be that, and that's scary.
Accurate.
It's a bad spot, and then so you're haggling back and forth about Bruno Fernandes, and they were going to lose to Liverpool anyway. I think people who started with the Ole out stuff after that game, come on, Liverpool's beating everybody.
Yeah.
But Bruno Fernandes now, and then you were telling us about a story out of Italy where Manchester United just didn't even handle a loan properly.
Oh.
Yeah. So, Alexis Sanchez is on loan with Inter, and because of the state of Manchester United, one would think, hey, look, maybe we need to recall this loan.
We need somebody. Hey, why don't we check in on Alexis?
And the problem is you forgot to include the loan recall clause in the contract. So as a result, you cannot recall when Mr. Alexis back to Manchester. Now, who wrote this contract with their eyes closed?
I have a notion. I can't confirm it.
You always put the recall clause in, even if you're not planning on using it, because you never know.
Never know.
It's risk reduction.
You got this window coming up, like right now, and it's okay. Man, we've had some injuries, we've had some things happen. He's playing well. We got to recall. We got to do it. And if we got to pay a penalty, okay, you put a penalty clause in, but you have an option to do it.
It's just mind-bending to me that you don't even have that.
You're already wound up. You don't know where to go.
I hate Inter, and I think this is absolutely hilarious. The fact that Inter gets to remain strong and Man U is just because
Direct quote.
You forgot to put basic fundamental loan recall clause in the loan agreement. It's 101.
Ed Woodward earned £3.16 million last year as a salary.
Fire him and give it to that kid. Let the kid do it.
Highest CEO salary in the league.
I'll say this. Because it is a 101 issue, I would not be shocked if Inter negotiated that out at a rate that made it a little bit more advantageous for Man U. That's not something you just leave out. There's no way. Someone from City D, someone from like League 2 in England, I don't care who you are. If your cousin's, sister's, brother's, uncle wrote the contract, they're putting in the recall clause. They're putting it in there. It only gets taken out if someone makes a move and says, hey, look, let me put this on the table. Let's just take this out, and we'll cover X amount more. We'll make it worth your while. It's like the line from Casino when the slot machines are getting ran, right? And De Niro's character comes over, and it's like the poo kicking cousin of like the gambling overseer for Las Vegas, and he says, and De Niro comes over and goes, look, either you were stupid or you were in on it. One of the two. It's one of the two,
right.
And either way you're out. No matter what, either you're an idiot or you were complicit in the run. But you got to get out.
You took less money or whatever, however you negotiated it. You have to leave that in there. If you're going to get less money in a loan, if you're going to pay more of the contract, whatever, you've got to have that option in there.
You have to. And
you can't be stuck in this spot.
And Woodward's either too stupid to put it in, or
screwed up.
He screwed up and let it be negotiated out of the loan deal. And either way, Ed's got to go.
Inexcusable.
Yeah, and
just go.
You're Manchester United. Theoretically, I should be able to go and like put a 4-year-old in charge of your marketing and still
that
have
kid
you
was
guys
at
generate
least
money.
8.
Get
man.
the kid.
He was like 8 or 9.
Yeah,
Give him credit.
No, I'm just talking about any kid. All right, I could.
That kid's got promise.
I'm getting that kid specifically.
Ed,
to run
like,
a lot
just
more
go.
of the organization, but this goes to show again that when we had the conversation about buying players and buying titles and whatever. You can come in with a lot of money. That doesn't mean you're going to be good.
Nope.
The
We've seen it many
Glazers
times.
are mind-bendingly rich, like ignorantly wealthy. Stupid money doesn't mean you're good.
They've been good. They're not now.
Have they, though, or were they riding the coattails of greatness? I'm going to lean toward coattails of greatness.
No. I mean, they've had success, and the problem is they haven't had enough success since Sir Alex Ferguson left. So then the question is, was it because of Fergie or what? I mean, they didn't run it into the ground at that point. I'll give them that.
Look,
They don't have enough right now to overcome the ridiculous tactics of Ed Woodward.
wealth doesn't buy health, and wealth doesn't buy class. And
doesn't buy intelligence either right now.
Not buy intelligence.
That's the problem.
And so this is the absolutely mind-bending headline. When it came across today, we dropped it into our pre-pro, DM, and it absolutely, like, the laughter was.
Yes.
I could feel my phone shaking from the laughter that was coming through the thread because it's stupid.
Okay.
Be better than that.
We've got some Mondays with Reddit.
Mondays
Let's
with
go.
Reddit.
All right, so according to Xavi Campos in Barcelona, Barcelona's technical secretary Eric Abidal's priority for reinforcing the striker position is Lautaro Martinez. The other candidate is Harry Kane, with Tottenham set to sell for under 160 million euro. What?
Huh?
That's like one guy who's over here, and it's like, yeah, and then the other guy's like, what? 150 million euro for Harry Kane at this point? What?
No.
Nope.
No.
I saw another.
That's bunk.
I saw another rumor that circulated that said that that Barcelona wanted to bring on Christoph Piatek from Milan.
Well, they're also linked to Timo Werner.
Yeah,
too. Sports front cover is supposed to have that tomorrow.
At this point, we're in like the absolute. We've descended beyond silly season into stupid season. If any of this has actually been floated by that front office, Barcelona's in worse shape than we thought. Because you're just flinging stuff at a wall. What's stock? What?
I mean, Lautaro, yes.
Yes.
Go
You
do
should
it.
make that move.
If you're going to pay $150 million for somebody, okay.
That's
Do
the
it.
guy.
That's the one. If that's the amount I'm spending, I'm doing on one guy, that's the guy.
Yeah, and you will pay out of the nose.
It's fine.
To enter.
You've obviously got it if you're thinking about that for Harry Kane.
Yeah.
And I like Harry Kane. I think Harry Kane gets a bad rap sometimes, but $150 million, less than 160, whatever it is, underneath 160. What?
No.
What?
No.
And when his career's over, he wants to come over here to the States and be a place kicker in the National Football League.
Why? Now you're going to hate again. You're
I'm
being
not
a hater
hating.
again. Yeah, you
not.
said that with hatred in your voice.
Hey.
What if he does come over here and become a place
Then
kicker?
crush it.
Okay. It's not the way you said it
Be
initially.
like
okay.
Nigel Gruff in The Replacements. Hit the 65-yard field goal and set a
such
record.
A great movie.
Yeah,
That
if he
is
can
such
do
a
it,
great
cool.
movie.
I'm down. If he wants to give that a go, have at it, Harry Kane.
Mm-hmm.
I
Big
will
fan of the NFL.
I will say that I think they need to make the move for Lautaro Martinez.
Yes.
I really, and this will be an absolute windfall and just an amazing move for Inter if they pull this off. If they bring in this guy, I think what did they bring him in for? 15, 20 million? And then now he has like 100 plus
Maybe
million
not even
valuation.
20.
And I mean, if they pull this off, it's going to be they will be so clear of financial fair play. It's going to be absolutely nuts. Good for them if they pull it off. But Barcelona, if you get anybody but Lautaro Martinez, please God, do not go and spend one dime on Christoph Piontek above $32 million. That's his value, $32 million. Anything above that, you are burning money.
All right, this is from a Barcelona Twitter account, and this is why I have argued quite a few times here lately that Lionel Messi is the greatest player in the world right now.
Hashtag Team Messi.
Okay.
Yes, I used to not necessarily be hashtag Team Messi, but when in his last 500 games for Barcelona, 500 games, that's a lot of games.
That's a lot of games.
How many goals do you think he's gotten in the last 500 games?
385.
That's a good number. I will do the Price is Right on John. You said 385?
386.
I'm going to go 387 just to be a little extra salt.
You're both nowhere near it. 500.
What?
500 goals.
Goal a match?
In 500 games.
Wow.
500 goals, 500 games.
500
That's
goals.
That's not bad.
That's what we've seen from Joseph Martinez in Atlanta. That is basically that
Times
over 500. No, over, times 5 because he's done it. He's done 88 goals in 100 games, I think, in all competitions.
Okay, so times 5.
Yeah.
That's league goals or is that
500 games for Barcelona?
All
Now I
comps.
haven't fact checked it, but it just says last 500 games for
That
Barca,
is
500
stupid.
goals, 200 assists on top of it.
That is so stupid.
They've lost out of the last 500 games that he's played. They lost 53
I
of
was
them.
going to say 60. Yeah.
They won 358 of them.
That's ignorant.
Yeah. Now I don't know where Ronaldo's
That's
numbers are over his
absolutely
last
dumb.
500
Don't care.
games period.
Don't
They're-
care.
The goals might be in the ballpark.
Yeah.
He doesn't have 200 assists in his last 500
No, he does
games.
not.
He doesn't, and that's the part on top of the ridiculous goal scoring that
Oh my God.
he's the GOAT. He is. I mean, and I do agree with the criticism. He hasn't done it enough for Argentina.
Agreed.
And that's
Agreed.
always going to be a question
Yes.
for Argentines when you compare to Diego Maradona. But it's two different categories to me. Diego had the greatest short-term run of any player in the history of the game, in my opinion, in modern times.
Yep.
I can't compare to Pelé when he was 25 or any of that. There's just not enough footage. I don't know. But over a career, 500 games, 500 goals. I mean, and not playing a bunch of joker games either. You're talking about Champions League. You're talking about
you're talking
high
big
pressure
time. Yeah.
situations.
Yeah.
Like that's absurd.
That's absolutely nuts.
Yeah, that's insane.
I've never even remotely heard of that number.
So if Joseph's done it in
my mind is-
100 games in 3 years, and you're going to multiply it by 5 to get to where Messi is, to do that, that's insane to be able to keep that level up for that long.
That's absolutely nuts.
So that's why I'm
absolutely
hashtag
mental.
Team Messi.
Yeah.
No, that statistic.
Sorry, CR7.
If verifiable, that will put me on Team Messi. That's something that is absolutely bonkers.
It's kind of nuts.
And the thing is, like, when you watch the guy, like, he has openly admitted that there were a number of years I really didn't take care of myself. Candy, sodas, all that stuff.
Dulce de leche.
Like, wait, what? You weren't taking care of yourself and you were still doing this?
Too many empanadas.
What?
He likes the Argentine restaurants in Barcelona.
Oh, my God.
So then
That
Joseph
sounds
would
really
have
nuts.
to be, 42 to keep up that pace?
Yeah, and keep up the pace.
Yeah.
And actually increase his pace.
Yes.
And do it for another 15 years.
Yeah.
I mean, good
Good luck,
yes.
buddy. Good luck, pal.
Oh, wow. Okay. A couple more Mondays with Reddit.
Mondays with Reddit.
All right. So Manchester United, according to the Daily Mail, is lining up a bid for Inter Milan midfielder Mattias Vecino.
All right.
That's okay?
I'm all right with Hey, look, I think it's an okay move. I think it's an all right move.
Okay.
I'm not hot or cold on it, to be honest with you. I know I'm supposed to have a hot take where I'm supposed to fling fire and get clicks and engagement. I'm okay with it. I'm all right. How much was the valuation again?
No valuation just yet to say that they're lining up a bid.
Okay, I want to see what the valuation is before I get too jumpy on it.
All right, another one with Inter, and this goes back to Christian Eriksen. Fabrizio Romano is reporting that Inter are ready to improve their bid to $15 million. Tottenham's still holding at 20. That's going to happen. Like that.
It's gonna happen.
When you get that close, it's going to happen.
It's going to happen. Yeah.
I don't know what the number ends up at, but that's going to happen.
We're getting into agent fee land.
Yeah,
Agent fees
yeah.
and commissions. This deal's going to get done.
Okay, here's one with another one with Barcelona, and this is according to DiMarzio. Juventus and Barcelona continue to discuss a Rakitic-Bernardeschi swap. Juve's also asking for cash in the deal. So Juve wants Rakitic and money for Bernardeschi.
Yeah, I'll buy that. Here's the reason behind this.
I don't
as
know
well.
about that.
Juve has been it's been announced that from a financial fair play compliance that Juve's going to be running into a bit of trouble. And yes, they did have that, the reallocation of cash and restructuring, the corporate finances restructuring and everything.
The sliding of assets.
Yeah, the assets getting moved around and whatnot, and which they can do because Exor, holds all the strings for them.
Right.
And for those who don't know, Exor is the parent company of Fiat and Juve and just a host of other companies out there. Just a wonderful corporate conglomerate, which is run by one of Gianni Agnelli's grandchildren. So I believe his name is John Elkann, who runs that. But Juve, if we go back, remember that Chelsea had the Hamburglar, Gonzalo Higuain, and because Juve signed him to a really dumb contract, and they had to move.
And he ate all the lira.
Oh, he ate all the lira, and they tried loaning him to Milan. That was a disaster.
He ate more lira.
And then, so they brought him back in, and they said, okay, no, with Sarri going to Chelsea, you bring your boy in there. He's going to help the transit. Okay, great. So they make that loan happen. Then wait, nope. Everything's changed because Sarri is out. So now we need to send him back. This is all while you're still trying to finance that move for Cristiano Ronaldo. Mm-hmm. So you have a ton of cash eaten up from both player wage standpoint and transfer standpoint with a club and a league that really cannot afford it. I don't care how much in corporate assets they can move around. There are still parameters within financial fair play that say you can only have a certain amount of capital injection and debt restructuring before they start stepping in. And they have. It's been announced that financial fair play has the great eye of Sauron.
Oh, no.
On Juve. What's happening?
No, the
great eye of Sauron. Yeah, exactly.
That's scary.
Yeah, so, the idea was, I think, at some point you were going to dump Dybala. Well, Dybala's had a resurgence, and he's doing really well, so you're not moving him. You let Mandzukic go. That's fine. You're dumping that salary. You moved him on. But how much longer are you going to keep this Ronaldo thing going? Because you had a guy in Moise Kean, and I'm not comparing Moise Kean and Cristiano Ronaldo from anything except wages.
Right.
If Juve doesn't win the Champions League this year, it might be time to move your man. I don't know who is going to pay for Ronaldo to come in at the valuation that Juve may put on him.
There's nobody. Nobody could.
Yeah, I mean, who's going to spend?
Is he going to play in Qatar or play in the Saudi league?
He ain't coming
PSG.
to America. Yeah, PSG may do it. He is not coming to America because there's still that federal charge hanging out
that's
there.
not going to happen.
So for those who say Ronaldo to MLS,
nope.
That move I don't think will happen anymore. I would go ahead and just shelve that move in its entirety because I don't think that move's going to happen. Now, if a Qatari club comes in, a Saudi club comes in, PSG comes in, maybe you'll see that $80 million. I don't see anyone else who can afford that. But I don't see how
PSG.
Juve can
I think they're the
afford
only ones who could.
Yeah, and with the Higuain deal, you're going to have to get rid of Higuain. You're going to have to.
Mm-hmm.
There's no more talk about this. I mean, I don't care how much he's contributing, but it's time to move on from him.
What do you think about this one? Ajax
Transfer
have
alarm going off in
reportedly
the
made an
background.
offer of €15 million for Juan Fernando Quintero of River Plate. The release clause is reportedly $22 million, but River's talking at 15 right now.
Ooh, I like that move. Go for it.
It's a little bit different for Ajax. I mean, they normally don't go for a player at this age to bring over. It happens sometimes where you get a club like Ajax who develops their own talent, where you have a gap. You know, if they don't have a playmaker coming through, if they don't have a number 10 and they need somebody to fill in the gap, he could be that guy.
He's could be
a pretty good guy to fill in the gap.
Yeah, and again, for Ajax, let's say you bring him in, and they're bidding, and their initial bid's 15.
15.
Yeah.
Let's say you spend 20.
Yeah.
Let's say it's 20. I mean,
So-
even then, that's not crazy money for them.
No.
Yeah, if that's their starting point, I think they get up to $20 million. If you bring him in and you let him play for a year or two, you already have the wealth of experience that he has from River, where, I mean, he's won everything there is to win at River. That's fine. But now you put him on a European stage with that Ajax brand. Don't be shocked if he ends up getting moved again at some point for, let's say, 30 to 40 million. You made your money back. You've been more than competitive. I think it's a great move for Ajax. If it was another team who was trying to do this, like let's say a mid-table team in Spain or France, I might have a little bit more reservation with it, just because I want to make sure that he's coming from a team. I don't doubt the player.
Yeah.
But teams of questionable talent have the ability to drag your value down with them.
Right.
And with Ajax, you're going to be at the top of the Eredivisie. You're going to be competitive. You're going to receive the best soccer education out there. By all means, I think it's a fantastic move, and they should do it.
Yeah, and I think he would be kind of a means to an end for them. I mean, there's always the pressure of winning league titles, competing in Europe. All those things are vital for Ajax's financial situation. They have to sell players to make good. And I don't think he would be a guy that you're buying to necessarily sell for big money. He would be the guy to keep your level up.
Yeah.
He would be somebody that even if they just break even on him in the long run, it's worth it if they win with him.
Correct.
And that's, you can make those kinds of moves if you're an Ajax where you're at with the money they've brought in recently.
Yeah, it is. And that's why the valuation was you buy him for $20 million, and then you end up moving it to 30 to 40 million on the high end. I mean, absolutely, there's nothing wrong with that. That's good money. So
yeah, is it just me or is Inter linked to everything in the window right now?
Yeah,
I saw a meme with it was a scene from it just escaped me. It has it's about the French assassin, The Professional. There you go. Mm-hmm. And the evil detective, right, who is there, he says, I want you to bring in everybody. And they're like, and the henchmen are like, well, who do you mean bring in? He's like, everybody! And they tie that, said, enter right now. And that is.
Welcome, Victor
That's what it
Moses.
feels like.
It is. They're being linked to everyone. And
coming and going. It's just everything is up for grabs right now.
Right. And you saw this for a while with the Juve rebuild, when they were trying to get some of the old guard out, some of the new guard in, and help re-energize and rejuvenate that squad. Beppe Marotta, this is his bread and butter. And not just that, but if you're Inter right now, you are also seeing that your lead has vaporized, and your position as second in the table is also slipping. And when that happens, you have to start making moves immediately, because once you get to 3, if Roma has any sort of success, they're nipping at your heels now. And you need to make sure that the pressure stays on, that you bring in the right talent. yes, Inter's going to be linked to everybody, and good for them for being in a financial position where they can do it. So as much as I hate Inter, this is great. Inter's one of those teams that can sort of be a canary in the coal mine for Serie A. Both Milan teams, and if Milan can become financially compliant and Inter can keep doing moves like this, it's great. It's a great sign for Serie A overall. But yeah, good on him, man. You've got the money, make it happen.
All right, did you guys see the VAR situations from the weekend, specifically the Manchester United-Liverpool one? I mean, I can't tell because it feels like it changes every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Is Liverpool winning the title because of VAR, or are they being unfairly penalized because of VAR? Because it depends on who you're asking.
Yes.
You're getting the exact opposite answer.
It's Pulopoly, man.
I'm baffled.
Somebody's paying off the VAR people to showcase perfectly legal situations and saying that it's illegal and the black helicopters are flying. No, look, VAR it's a video screen pointing at a situation, right? And England has its issues reading VAR, and people are having their own issues interpreting VAR. I'm not willing to say that Liverpool is winning a title because of VAR.
No, I don't think it's changing anything about it. It's just it's funny the reactions to VAR because it's just this nonsense of, okay, Liverpool's benefiting from everything. Yeah. But then they had 2 goals called back in this one, and rightly so.
Yes.
In my opinion, I think it was a foul on De Gea, and that's been one that a lot of people have gotten really stuck in their way of looking at this. I thought it was obvious there was contact on De Gea. It should have been called initially, and it wasn't. Now, if you want to get into the semantics of VAR and get into detail about should that have been part of the attacking phase of play, I can go down that road with you. But it was a foul on De Gea because Van Dijk made contact with him as he's catching the ball. He prevented him from catching it due to the contact, not winning the ball. Right. That's a foul. It's a foul on the goalkeeper. Mm-hmm. That's my opinion.
And what does social media say about it?
Depends on what color shirt they were wearing, what their logos were.
All right.
Which is weird because this one to me was it looked cut and dried when I saw the replays of it. I didn't even think there was a way you could justify arguing against it.
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you. It all comes down to what colors you're wearing.
Too often, yeah, it does.
And whether the move is right, whether the move's wrong, whether the call's right, whether the call's wrong, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anymore.
So England, you've got people showing up at games saying VAR is killing our sport and VAR is ruining football and you're killing us. All right, well, now in the Netherlands, after referees wrongly disallowed goals in 2 games and didn't see the ball cross the line in another, the KNVB is now considering using VAR in the Dutch second division.
Okay, good. If you have the financial resources, bring it in. The problem isn't with VAR. The problem is not with VAR. The problem is with the people who are interpreting it. And
it's created some loopholes in the laws of the game because now you can see things that you couldn't before.
But you have to address it.
Yeah, I agree.
You have to address it. They at one point did not have speed limits posted on the side of the road because your horse could only run so fast for so long. But then they got cars.
I had a super horse, yo.
That's right. And the cars started driving a little faster and a little faster and a little faster. And then finally, when enough people were killed, they said, you know what? Maybe we should put something up that says how fast you can drive these things. Because the game changed, right? It's always a matter of progression. There's always going to be loopholes until the loopholes are filled, until they get closed. And it's the same thing with VAR. VAR's going to sit there and say, you know what? This guy was 14 millimeters in the offside position.
Oh, well.
And fans are going to be like, this stinks, blah, blah, blah. You know what's going to happen 10 years from now? People are going to be like, yeah, the guy's, hey, whether you're 1 millimeter or 14 millimeters, Chief, you're offside. Hate it for you.
Oh, there's going to be people who are
well, you had the one goal off of goal line technology.
But no, goal line technology is 100% perfect. Don't ever question it. You can't do that. That's incorrect, sir. I thought it was kind of technology, but I guess because it's better technology, I don't know. It's just accepted. Maybe it's because commentators and pundits don't question it on a regular basis, and they just accept it.
Isn't goal line technology built off the Hawkeye technology from tennis?
So I think, but I'm not 100% sure.
I think that was the idea behind it.
But the idea of it was introduced a while ago with tennis.
But the Hawkeye technology is what they use for offside.
Oh, well, isn't that wild?
Now, it's trickier because of what you're dealing with, of course. But
I feel like people on social media, and I know if you could see the look of like just whatever on my face, because anytime we talk about anything with social media, it's a black hole. But there are people who say, well, it's taking the momentum out of the game. I can't cheer. I can't do this. I can't do the.
That stuff drives me crazy.
Seriously. Do you want the game officiated correctly or not? If you don't,
do you want the laws implemented the way they were written?
If don't sit there and tell me how much professional wrestling sucks because it's not real and you can do whatever you want and I like sports restraint.
Wait a minute there, sir.
You know what? If you want something where there's no rules and you can do whatever the heck you want, there are sports out there and entertainment options out there that can make that happen. Believe me, there is somebody in
backyard fighting like Kimbo Slice.
Yeah, guys, there is Barroom Fighting League. It is a league where they put two guys in a bar. I would love to know what the insurance rates are for this.
Yeah.
And they brawl out as people sit at the bar and drink beer. There's a sport for you.
Okay.
But if you want, the rules of the game have loopholes right now because the sport itself, is faster than it has ever been. You have referees out there, right? Like center refs who are out there, and they're 40, 42, 43 years old, trying to keep up with the 24-year-old who can run the 40-yard dash in 4.6, right? And they're running miles on end, and you're expecting him to keep up with you 100%? Oh wait, okay, so hold on. We have these assistant referees, right? We have these other guys at the end. They call offside and things like this. It's really crazy how they just station these guys down there. Oh. You mean that when there gets to be a whole herd of people down at one end, it can be sometimes confusing, and maybe a call gets missed. Oh, shocking and amazing. What if there was some way we could have a camera that could see where the officials couldn't and then run it back in slow-mo and make sure the call got right? I'd go back to Italy 2006 when that phantom penalty was called and France went up. And I remember thinking, my God, if there was a way that we could go back and just show these officials this tape, they would see that no contact happened. Well, we can now. Mm-hmm. And you're going to have to get over the whole idea of it's killing the game and it's slowing things down. If it's getting it right and loopholes will get closed and interpretations will be clarified, then that's fine. Don't get mad at me because of VAR, because I'm making sense about VAR and you just don't want to see the truth because your particular team has been had 2 goals removed. Talk to me about the fact that you want the rules to be bent for your club. Talk to me about that. And keep it real with yourself at night, that you want the rules bent for your club. That offside, he's a little bit offside, but not too much. In 1937, he'd have been considered onside.
And we went to school barefoot, uphill both ways in the snow every single time.
I don't care what your age is. If you come at me with some mess like that, you will be shamed immediately and that's what you're going to get. I went to school both ways uphill in the snow.
And we liked it.
The gravity of Earth's core, it generated twice the gravity that it does now, you lucky kids, you millennials.
Why I oughta.
So Declan Rice came out, and this was after VAR was involved in the Friday night football match with West Ham. Mm-hmm. And he said, I don't think it's just me. It's the thought of pretty much every Premier League player. I don't think anybody wants to have VAR in the game.
Oh, whatever.
Okay. This is a really good piece, and I will blast it out on @soccer down here in just a minute. Nigel Owens, he is a top rugby referee, and he is Welsh, and he is a huge football fan as well. And he says what his suggestions are to sort VAR out and what needs to change to solve its many problems. I think Nigel would get along with us. I think Nigel's thoughts are pretty much along the same path as us.
So we're only making plans for Nigel.
Oh, wow. So you pull out a reference from XTC and you expect anybody to get that except for me.
Nelson annotated after every show.
Yeah, XTC is a great band. Go check it out. All right. So Nigel says the offside issue, and he's basically with us. You're on or you're off. It's the way the laws are written.
Yeah.
There's no gray area. If you want to rewrite them, cool. But the way it is what it is. There's nothing else you can do about it. He said fans do need to understand and accept the offside rule. I would vote that pundits and writers and journalists and experts also need to do that, because I think
Yeah.
a big reason with why this happens is everybody questions VAR instead of the law. Now, it's started to change. I'm starting to hear more conversation about what can we do to change the law, et cetera, et cetera. But I think the biggest reason why fans react the way they do to it is because that's what they're hearing from people.
Right.
Correct.
Now, the fans are going to get riled up. I get it. I understand that. But I think they're being led down some roads here, too. Nigel says there is no leeway for the officials as things stand, it seems. They have to interpret the law, although that law could change one day given some of the issues that have been raised. Dead on. Next one, he said, is VAR being overused? He thinks it is. He thinks it is because you're checking every goal, which is adding a little bit of a delay to every goal. There's some things that they're checking they don't need to. I think in the Premier League and other leagues where VAR is newer, that's going to back off as people get used to it.
Yeah, it's going to be faster and faster as you become more accustomed to the tools and all of that.
The cursory checks are going to be fast in moments where you know there's no need to dig into detail. I think that happened in MLS too.
I putting on my tinfoil hat for a moment.
Of course.
I have no problem with all the checks because you be a fan of a league where massive cheating's taking place.
Yeah, there's that.
Yes.
There is that.
And don't think someone is not making money off of every result. Go just look at the shirt sponsors. 32 Red, betclick.com, whatever. Any sort of betting org you want. As long as betting is in the game and as long as there has been a history of people fixing matches, as long as there's been a history of people faking injuries and fouls and everything else to try to get ahead, you need to try to keep up with that and beat them any chance you get. The number one way to do that is to put it on camera and have it where it can be rewound and watched again. Put it on replay. There needs to be, when we talk about Sky Sports and all this, you have a player who's sitting on that panel who played in like the 80s or 90s typically. And it is like, well, back when I played, Well, okay, great. That's fantastic. But we're not playing then. We're playing now. And so we need to have VAR in the game. I think one thing they could do is like what they do with rugby where they announce like, it's like you can hear the actual conversation. Like, okay, did you see that? Okay, is he offside? Okay, he's offside. Okay, the goal is being waved off because the player was offside. Make it like the NFL. I don't care.
I'm good with that, too. I think there's two things. I'm okay if they don't have live mics on the discussion. I think from a TV broadcasting perspective, they should replay those at halftime and at full time.
Yeah, sounds of the game kind of a
do a sounds of the game and show it then. That's fine. And then that way,
But that's only
if
for
you
the
need
TV audience, though.
I'm getting there.
Okay.
But that's part of it, is if you need to clean something up in an edit, you need to bleep
Right.
anything. All right, that gives the referees the ability to do what they got to do.
Okay.
For the live audience, I would mic them up and have the referee explain it, or have the fourth explain it, whatever. If you need to get play restarted, you go ahead and start playing. The fourth gets on and says it, or the fourth relays it to the PA announcer and he says it. However you do it with the logistics, it needs to be announced properly. And a little bit of explanation.
Yep.
Give that, and those things will help the narrative about VAR. Nigel says that the time it takes to make decisions, it needs to come down. He said most officials are happy to take a look at something 2 or 3 times. If they see enough in that time to satisfy themselves one way or the other, they're good. And I agree with that. I think it's a new toy right now, and you're taking a little bit too long to look at 20 different angles when maybe with time – one, your VAR, your assistant VAR, your producers are going to be faster at getting you the right angles. And 2, referees are just going to be more used to it, and they're going to trust it more quicker. So I think that'll get better. What else? He's crazy about the refusal to look at pitch side monitors. He's like, doesn't make any sense, which 100%. The big screen, that issue, it's something that they need to manage better, I think, from a communication tool, definitely.
Yep.
I love this part, and he as the question or the issue, the passion being taken out of the game. He said, of course, while this happens, the other claim that is being made is that the passion is being taken out of the sport. He said, but by showing the incident up on the big screen, the fans become part of that excitement and the passion isn't lost. When we're checking a try and say there's been a suggestion of a knock-on, fans will look up intently. Some will argue, yes, that's a knock-on. Others will say it's not. They'll debate it, and they'll await the decision. It's part of the excitement, and they are being kept fully informed.
Yep.
He said that, of course, doesn't happen in football because of the lack of communication inside the ground, which creates some of the confusion that fans talk about. And it's the same in our football.
Yeah.
I think now you're at a point. Now, I don't know how much they show in the venue. I know they show more than they do in a soccer sense, but I don't know how much they show.
Yeah.
But now we're accustomed to these plays, and you get used to it. If you're a hardcore football fan, you're not saying we don't want replay. Now, you're debating
Correct.
every replay, and you're getting into it, and I think maybe they've opened up too much to replay now with pass interference, but that's a different conversation.
Right.
You're invested in it, and it's part of the excitement.
Agreed.
It can be the same in this.
Yeah.
Because you do get issues that are interpretation. Offside is not one of those. There are others that are not, but was it a red card? Was it not a red card? That stuff is, we've always done it. We're still always arguing about it. We always will, because that's a judgment call. Was it a foul in the box? Was it a penalty? Was it not? Okay. These are things that we're always going to talk about. And you see some that you think it's a penalty. I think it's not. We sit here and argue about it. We don't start slapping each other. It's all good.
Right.
Like, that's part of the game. It always has been, and it still is.
Every Saturday and Sunday during football season, college and NFL, there are plays where it is some Herculean pass down the field, wide receiver hits the ground, and then the crowd still goes nuts, right? Mm-hmm. And then the official comes on and goes, the previous play is under review, right? And then what happens? They show the replay, and then you hear the crowd explode all over again.
One way or the other, yeah.
Yeah, one way or the other. But what happens is you get the right call. And I go back to the Titans-Rams Super Bowl, right?
Oh, yeah.
And everyone remembers that from the Kevin Dyson coming up.
It was right there at the goal line.
But that play shouldn't have even been consequential because the Titans touchdown before that, Eddie George to the right, leaned with his left shoulder, his left knee hit the ground a yard outside of the end zone. And I remember the announcer saying, when replay gets enacted, that play's not counting. The Rams should have won that Super Bowl straight out. No concerns, no heart-wrenching moment of Dyson getting the shoestring tackle. The game should have been over way before that. And that's something where if, luckily the Rams won, but if the Titans had won that game, and the clip back is the one that the NFL has to show over and over in perpetuity, it's Eddie George with his knee down at the 2-yard line. I would rather have the right call happen. And I would rather have big moments decided by accurate calling of not the baseball has a problem with it right now. I'd have it accurately balls and strikes counted as they should be, no buzzers included.
Oh boy.
Yeah. But I would rather have it like if my favorite team loses because a penalty is waved off, it happened. The penalty got waved off. Win the game in the 60th minute,
Hand of
not
God.
the 90th. Yeah.
Do we? I mean, I don't think English fans have fully accepted that one, but they should because
They should.
hey, we don't want VAR. We don't want these things to happen. We don't want a replay to show that. That just accept it. Just move on. Like bad calls happen.
Yeah. Okay. So when the floppers come in and the floppers start going all over the place, and your favorite team loses because some pretty boy flopper, decides to hit the deck twice in a game,
Would the Irish have liked to have gone to a World Cup?
I think they would have.
And Thierry Henry did something that I think VAR would have ruled against. Thinking. For people who are so against replay, don't you think the English would love to have VAR when Diego Yeah, the hand of God.
jumped
That's
up?
what I'm saying.
Isn't that something? The English are so against VAR, yet scream the most about the hand of God. I mean,
It's kind of funny.
I'm just saying.
It's kind of funny.
It's just one of those things. It just seems to me that if you had been wronged by an incident in the past that could have been easily solved by VAR, it seems to me that you would want to make sure that VAR was enacted in your league and fully implemented, and tell the dinosaurs on TV to shut their mouths.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. Get it better. It's not as good as it should be. It's not as good as it is in most leagues around the world. It can be better. It's not going anywhere. I think that ship has sailed. So make it as good as you possibly can. Make it where decisions are made as quickly as you possibly can. Mm-hmm. And now start to revisit the laws of the game. I think they're going to have to do this on a much quicker turnaround to do these things. I mean, they already made a slight, not change, but maybe a directive about the attacking handball situation that I didn't know about in November. They made a bit of a directive about what immediately means. Because remember, the attacking handball thing, if there's a handball that immediately leads to a goal, right? I think immediately is the proper term in the laws of the game, then doesn't matter if it's intentional or not, no goal.
Right.
Now, people have then said, well, are we talking attacking phase of play, or is it just in the immediate build-up to a goal? And they kind of gave a directive to clarify it a little bit. Mm-hmm. So IFAB is starting to, I think, be more attentive, which is good. Right. They're having their big meetings next month to talk about changes to the laws for next season. Mm-hmm. The handball situation is one. A lot of people blame that on VAR. It has nothing to do with VAR. No. It was created and the process started before VAR existed.
Right.
I understand why they tried to do it. I think they screwed it up, and I hope that they fix it. There's elements that are good. I hope they fix it. I hope they give more clarity on VAR, and I hope that they just continue to make the game better. I don't think VAR makes it worse. I think it's not being used to its full extent, and it's not being used properly.
The official knows the rules of the game, right? We all
hopefully,
in theory, yes.
In theory, the official is supposed to be an expert on the rules of the game.
In theory.
In theory. And again, in theory, if there are any situations that arise during the game, the official is there to interpret the rules and make a call either way.
To implement, not interpret.
To implement. Okay. Now, when said official looks at the screen and sees what's going on, they do what?
Enact the laws of the game.
Okay. So if something happens...
In theory,
if something happens and the official implements the laws of the game and the call is something you don't like, what you're suggesting to me then is that the official should go against everything that they have studied, read, spent an insane amount of money getting licensed to cover and to learn, should walk out on the field knowing that the answer that he or she is about to give is completely incorrect and go, hey, fam, that really wasn't an offside position, even though his shoe was in the offside position.
Millimeters!
Right. And then what happens on Twitter? Oh, we're going to get, back home, 47 angles, super slow-mo, almost defying the laws of
X,
physics.
Y, and Z axes.
Yeah. They're going to have bullet time, 360 degrees, zooming in, ultra-high definition. And everyone in the world is going to see that foot was offside and the player was in an offside position. And everyone who is wearing the opposite jersey of your favorite team is going to be screaming about it. Mm-hmm. So the other option is the official implements the laws of the game, makes the right call, and the goal is disallowed.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So tell the truth, make the correct call, and move along. And that's controversial.
Apparently
totally.
so, especially when it goes against your team.
Yeah, that tells me more about you as a fan than it does about the system that you're complaining about.
All right, we're going to shift gears with one more Mondays with Reddit.
Mondays with Reddit.
This is mind-blowing, but amazing. And again, I am trusting Reddit here, which can get you in trouble.
Oh, man.
But I am trusting Reddit. I am also trusting Rich Jolly on Twitter.
That sounds like a trustworthy name, Rich Jolly.
I'm trying to get his credentials. He's a football journalist for The National, The Guardian, The Observer, The Straits Times, The Independent, The Daily Telegraph, 442, and The Blizzard.
Far out.
I'm trusting Rich Jolly.
Okay, Rich.
So, Rich says, 88 of the 91 Premier and Football League teams have scored at least one league goal in 2020. There are 3 exceptions, 3 teams that have not scored in 2020. They have not scored in this decade.
Okay.
2 of them are in the Premier League.
Okay. All right.
One of them not in the Premier League is Bristol Rovers.
Oh, okay.
There are 2 in the Premier League. And it's kind of funny. One is in big trouble. And
Bournemouth?
Yes.
Bournemouth, yeah.
Going to get relegated, and it's bad.
Villa.
No. No.
West Ham?
The others should not be in this conversation. No.
Leicester?
No.
I'm going to say
Trying to do math real quick and failing.
Crystal Palace?
No. Tottenham.
There you go.
Come on, Jose.
The chosen offensive one.
Come on. No goals in 2020, Jose.
Oh, wow.
Oy.
wow.
Spurs.
But
Bournemouth.
again,
They got to go buy somebody fast
I mean,
with
but
Harry
again,
Kane injured.
It's almost like that situation with Man United where does it really matter who the manager is at Spurs at this point? Really?
Well, Pochettino needed to go because I think he was just bitter and over it.
Yeah.
That's a little different. But no, it doesn't make a difference.
It doesn't make a
in terms of
difference.
it. Like
Doesn't
he
matter.
needed to go for his own sanity. I mean, he's playing foot golf. He's having
Yeah.
the time of his life right now. Like hole in ones in foot golf and running around hugging everybody and walking in like the Don at Newell's and he's got everybody with him. And they open the back gate for him. He's probably got the Maradona throne now.
Yep.
They probably gave it to him. He needed that. So I'm good with him leaving, but no, it hasn't changed anything for Spurs.
No, and that's the thing is that there's a culture problem. You have again.
I kind of like the new soft Jose though. He's a little bit better than he was at United. I mean, he was so bitter and angry.
Yes.
He's not that now.
No, well, he
kinda
got some time
cruising.
off, which is what we said he needed. We said he needed some time.
The shot where the ISO cam on him, where I can't remember who had the miss because there's been so many of them, and he had the reaction where he turned and he was like at first kind of angry, then he just started laughing.
Sounds like Davison Sanchez.
There's probably. I mean, there's just nothing you can do at this point. Like
I was trying to think of the most obvious miss recently.
They've got to move Eriksson on and get what you can. They've got to do it now and then take that money and go get somebody. They've got to go get somebody who can put something remotely close occasionally in the back of the net.
Yeah, really?
No, and that's that's something that is overdue for them. I think the one benefit that they have over Man United is they don't have some of the
Ed Woodward.
Yeah, they don't have Ed Woodward.
But they do have Daniel Levy though.
Yeah, but they don't have the albatross of a Pogba contract, where you have a player who's like, we really don't want you like in the facility if we can avoid it, but at the same time, like you're just too darn expensive to like easily move.
That's so stupid.
And so I think they're in a better position than United from that standpoint, though they're not in the table at the moment. But Daniel Levy's going to have to open his pockets, and he's going to have to spend a little cash. And I mean, how much does Jose really?
$12.
Does Jose Mourinho really get an opportunity to stay there and build a team? That's another question.
We've still got a couple of other United things before we go.
They should.
Yeah.
Okay.
We started a little late, so we'll run just a little longer to get these questions in. Let's talk real quick about the Superliga in Argentina getting back underway. River rescued a win last night in a rescheduled game from their Copa Argentina run. The full schedule gets started this weekend. There were efforts to try to push it back again, even though it had been scheduled all along because teams said, well, we've got guys at the U23s qualifying, and we should just delay the start of the league again because that's how things go in Argentina. They've only got 7 weeks left in the regular season before you get into the second season, the Copa de la Superliga. But
there we go.
They tried. I'm pretty sure that failed, but it's only Monday, and I think games start Friday, so anything can happen. Liga MX, 2 weeks in, and nobody is perfect. Nobody has 2 wins on the table, which is a little surprising. 3 teams with 4 points, a win and a draw. Chivas, Pumas, and maybe the big surprise is San Luis.
Yes.
Has popped up there. Xolos, with our friend Leandro Gonzalez Perez down there, they looked pretty good in the first week against Santos Laguna, and they looked really bad against Querétaro.
Ooh.
Really bad.
Was that a 3-0?
I know it was too late.
I want to say it was a 3-0.
I think it ended up 3-0. I tuned it out because it was so bad. I went over to the River Plate game. It was 3-0.
What I was doing.
Yeah, shout out to LGP for getting his yellow card.
Well, you knew it was happening.
Yeah.
I mean, it's what happens. The biggest surprise for me, and they picked up a win on this weekend, but Santos, after the way that they were so good in the regular season in the Apertura and then knocked out by Monterrey, the 8th seed in the playoffs, and then lost first week in Tijuana, they bounced back with a win, but there's questions. Cruz Azul has not picked up a point yet, and they're a club that is not normally in this situation. That's maybe the biggest surprise at the moment. Tigres only with 1 point. Monterrey only with 1 point, but Monterrey didn't play the first week. They gave them an extra week to recover from their pretty good sojourn over to the Club World Cup.
But yeah, Atletico San Luis for me up top. It's a pleasant surprise coming out of the blocks. I like that, but and yeah, on the downside, Cruz Azul. So that's what I'm staring at. But yeah, looking at
Chivas is going to be fun. Macias going back to Chivas from Leon. A lot of people, thought Leon was going to come into CONCACAF and just be a beast after what they've done. They lost their top goal scorer, so we'll see what they end up being. They have won one and lost one so far in the Clausura, but Macias going back to Chivas to replace Pulido, who is now in MLS. Macias is a guy, if you're looking at young up-and-coming Mexican talent, JJ Macias, Jota Macias, it's a guy to watch.
Leon lost this past weekend 3-2 in a shootout, right? Basically, in a lot of back and forth, meaning it was so it was a 3-2 loss for Leon.
Leon's a bit of a strange team. They lost to Santos Laguna in that one. They beat Querétaro in the first week. They've got coming up before they see LAFC, and that's the glamour matchup in CONCACAF in the round of 16. They host Pachuca, they go to Monarcas, they host Monterrey, and then they go to San Luis. It's a pretty tough run-in for them to that first leg against LAFC. So I want to see where the goals are going to come from consistently with Macias back in Guadalajara.
Right there with you. What else is on the table?
What do we have on the Twitters? I think we had a couple Atlanta United-related questions.
We did, and it had to do with Paraguayan influence as well.
Well, it's about the U23s, and I have not seen these games. I'm blown away that on all the different possibilities to watch games that either I have or I know about, these games are not widely available.
Yeah,
I think they're DirecTV specific in South America, the CONMEBOL Olympic qualifiers. I'm shocked nobody picked them up. I thought they would be available somewhere.
This is the issue with TV rights is that, somebody's got to buy them. Somebody's got to buy them and distribute them.
Yeah.
And so if you don't
Come on, Fanatis.
Yeah,
really?
If you want to see these games, you have to start calling and emailing and putting up on Twitter and calling these people out and saying, hey, get this competition or this competition. Otherwise, they're not going to do it because they're not going to think there's a demand. So if you want to see U23s, you better go ahead and start hitting people up on Twitter and maybe somebody up in Bristol.
Fanatis.
Come
on, Fanatis.
Makes the call and gets the deal done.
Come on and sponsor our show, Fanatis.
Yeah,
we
really?
give you so much free
That's
advertising.
right.
I think I created a new Fanatis subscriber in the SDH network today.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I think somebody was checking the Fanatis availability out, and I told them it's great. And come on, Fanatis.
Come on.
If you are
got
an
me to
MLS
subscribe.
fan, there you go.
I got two. That's two right there.
Yeah.
And the best part of Fanatis is it's not just, hey, if you're a soccer fan, okay, well, I have this small window in the mornings on the weekend of games, and after that I'm watching replays. No. With Fanatis, you're watching games like in the evenings, and it's Argentina, so pretty much pick the day of the week.
Yeah.
Yep, there's always something.
There's always something.
They got the second division on there too occasionally. You can watch Club Atletico Atlanta.
There we go.
Trying to get into the Superliga.
Big ups to Club Atletico Atlanta.
Yes.
All
The
right.
Bohemians.
The Bohemians.
Oh, Los
the
Bohemios.
fighting Bohemians, baby.
Los Bohemios.
There we go. So there's a lot of opportunity to watch some quality ball on that end. And not just that, but if you want to have an idea of some of these players that are being targeted by MLS clubs, my friends, this is an opportunity. If you watch any of these games, you'll officially do more scouting than half of MLS. So Consider yourself loaded.
Maybe not quite half now. I think.
Okay.
I think
Are we down to a quarter?
I think there's a lot of Fanatis
decent
subscribers in MLS.
Decent percentage.
Okay.
Yeah. I think we're
I'll
okay.
say a quarter then.
It's getting better.
Unite Chop Prize on the Twitters. Do you expect to be 100% on the roster before CONCACAF Champions League kicks off, referring to Atlanta United?
Probably not, just because I think you'll have some moves that happen even after the MLS season starts. I mean, think back to Justin Merrim, moves like that have happened. I think you'll probably get something that'll happen in May, like right before the window closes. I think you could see some of these. I mean, the two Paraguayans who are with the U23s, Matias Villasanti, Santiago Arzamendia. The report that came out today was from an interview with Cerro Porteño's manager on radio in Paraguay, and he said that, look, they need to sell players, but it's a free market, so they don't know when this is going to happen. If they don't sell them, these guys could come back into the team at Cerro Porteño. I'd be happy to have them. But these are two players that have pretty good price tags for Cerro Porteño on them. So I think they'll go in this window, and I think this U23 tournament could help maybe accelerate that process or maybe add some zeros. We'll see what happens. Are they both going to come to Atlanta?
Don't know.
I think that's tough with the way things currently stand, with people who, a lot of people expected Tito Villalba to not be here at this point. He is. So that was a spot that you could have worked with when you were starting to map it out. If he's there, you don't have that spot. So then you're waiting to see what happens with the CBA and how much more room there is to work with. So that can play into this as well. You've also added Edgar Castillo, and Arzamendia doesn't make as much sense now to go into that mix on the left side. Whereas Villasanti, because everybody is still looking for #Nagby replacement, they think
Yes.
that Villasanti could be that guy. I don't know if you need to go get that guy, but I really like Villasanti. I like his game. I think he'd be a very good fit for what Frank de Boer wants to do. I think he's got a really good career ahead of him, and I'd love to see him in an Atlanta kit if it can happen. But there's still an if that can happen, and there's still moves to be made, and they might not be done by the Motagua series. Because you have to look at the competition here. Motagua could be fielding a player that was on your second team last year in Wesley Dekas, who you opted not to bring back, and he could go to Motagua and probably play. That tells you a good bit about the level.
Right.
Doesn't mean they can't beat you, and doesn't mean they can't beat you in San Pedro Sula, which is going to be a very difficult place to play. A stadium that the U.S. national team lost in 2013.
Yeah.
It can happen, but you should be able to take care of business in the second leg. You have a better team, period, and you should be able to handle it.
Follow-up from his dudeness. Any feedback on the Paraguayans' performance last night? Sounds like Villasanti was dominant.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I have no idea if he was dominant because I didn't see it. I can't see it. If his dudeness has the hookup, then, hey.
And
I'm right here. At Longshoe. You can send me a message.
Yeah. Hey, look, send some video over. Find that feed.
Yeah. So no, I didn't see it. I'd like to. I like Villasanti's whole game. So I'm not surprised if he had a good day. Paraguay lost, by the way, and that makes it a little difficult for them to get out of the group, which was going to be difficult already. I think their last game, if they don't proceed out of the group stage, would be January 31st. You could get some movement before that, but I don't know if you get an official announcement before that.
I also have to say that just keep in mind that the dynamic is shifting as well, where you're starting, like Real Madrid went in and got this kid from Flamengo, Henry Jesus, and they bring him right into the Real Madrid B team, right, for $30 million. That is right within MLS price budgets, right? That's right there within $30 million.
That'd be double the biggest transfer, pretty much.
But how far away are we from that? I mean, it's not that far off from the type of player that you're looking at, though.
No, it's up a little bit, and then the question's twofold. Like, are you going to kick the transfer number up higher?
Yeah.
And is that player going to take that money and that contract to come here? I don't know if you've bridged that gap just yet.
But the thing is, though,
next 10 years maybe
is that you are starting to see more of these teams coming in and snatching these younger talents up and developing them on their B team. So there's going to be competition. Not just, I mean, obviously this is a Brazilian kid. We don't get a lot of people out of Brazil in MLS, but it's not going to be too much longer before they start taking these kids and spending 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 million euro and stashing them on their B teams.
Yeah.
Because if you go to some of these guys and you say, hey, look, we're going to put you on our B team for a couple of years, you ball out, you learn our system, and then we're going to move you up to Real Madrid's first team, or you can go play in MLS. What do you want to do? I think there's going to be a lot of younger talent who may say, there will be some who will pick MLS because they get to be the guy.
Yeah, I think it depends on the country and the history. Like right now, Paraguayans, I think, are going to come to MLS because they've seen it work with a manager that they respect in Tata Martino.
Yeah.
They've seen it work with a player in Miguel Almiron, and others have started to do it. I think you're going to be good there. Argentines, I think you're going to get a mixed bag, but yeah, you're going to get some Argentines like Barco. When that move happens for him to go to Europe, that's going to sway it even more. Brazil's the holdout because Brazilians come with a bit of a premium already because of the history.
Correct.
So you're almost getting into a point where the price tag doesn't really fit. And it's riskier because of that. I think still it's smart for MLS to go to Paraguay, to go to Uruguay, to go to Ecuador, to go to some countries like that where it's a good price point and also the top players are willing to come.
Right. And my point is just don't be shocked if you start seeing some of these players poached by some of these larger clubs, and they'll be like, well, he could have come here and he could have started. He could have been on our first team, but instead he's going to go sit on a B team from somewhere. Just don't be shocked when you start seeing these moves happen because of financial fair play.
Yeah.
Teams like Real Madrid, who used to splash 100 plus million, even they say now, okay, we got to start shedding some salary.
Yeah.
So the financial realities are starting to catch up to everybody, which means they're going to be fishing in different pools for talent. So just don't be shocked when you see players, and I'm not saying for the Paraguayans and particularly, but as these transfer rumors kick up and get moved around, don't be shocked when you see some of these big name clubs in there, and just don't automatically dismiss it because big name club X is circling around a player that a bunch of MLS teams are looking at as well.
Yeah, it's going to evolve. I think in the next 10 years you'll see MLS in that $25, $30 million range to bring players and young players that they expect to be able to flip. Don't know if we're quite there yet. Barco could actually be a hand in kicking that up a notch if he gets 30 to 40 and you spent 15 and you start doing the math and it's like, oh, wait a minute. And then also that's going to make it more likely that those players choose to come to MLS and play and grow from it. So it's all happening. It's all just a bit of time it's going to take for this to happen, but it's all heading in the right direction. We're going to see more of it.
Sack Woodward as a hashtag on Twitter right now. 32,500 tweets with the hashtag.
Oh, Sack Woodward, yes.
Sack Woodward.
It needs to be
325,000.
It needs to be hashtag Ed. Just go.
Just go.
That hashtag. Just Ed.
Just go.
Just go.
Ed, just go.
That's the hashtag I want to make.
The kid made a bunch of
That might
sense.
be a T-shirt.
I think so.
Ed, just go.
Ed,
You
just
gotta have
go.
the like. Gotta have the like.
Ed, just
Just
go.
Just go.
Ed, just go.
Yeah, see, that's a T-shirt.
And that's, I hope that kid needs to be on Sky Sports immediately.
Who's the bigger star of the season so far? The ball boy from Tottenham or that kid?
That kid.
That kid.
I think it's that kid. The ball boy from Tottenham's pretty good.
Yeah.
Ball boy from Tottenham's good, and he got a lot of shine, but
Yeah. Or the ball boy from Newcastle.
but when
The ball boy from Newcastle
when-
who was giving Miggy some love.
no, that's great. That's fine and great. The kid from Man U he's so far the season MVP.
Yes.
Because he's been memed, retweeted, and everyone generally says the kid's 100% correct.
Yeah.
So the fact that this 8-year-old's out there dropping truth bombs all over the place and getting a lot of respect for it across many soccer circles.
Yes.
And coming out,
He can come on our show anytime.
Yeah,
he
really.
wants.
Anytime.
And
Open
also
invite.
coming out of lane 8 is the 64-year-old gentleman who had fantastic seats. I want to say at the Southampton match this past weekend. There was a celebration after a goal that knocked the corner flag out.
Oh no, that was so bad.
And dude was all a part of the celebration. Hopping up and down in row 2. Corner flag, did a little spearing.
Direct to the minimals.
Direct to the minimals.
Yeah, that's bad.
Sky Sports actually caught up with the guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They now.
Yeah, I was just getting excited, and all of a sudden, yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. Oh. No
And,
good.
Let's see. Cavani has put in a transfer request to PSG,
Yeah.
which is, I guess, at this point is PSG.
Well, look, the thing with Cavani is that, I get it that, he wants out, and he was supposed to go to Atletico, and PSG says Atletico needs to get their transfer bid right. Don't be shocked if Napoli comes calling and offers Koulibaly for Cavani and cash. Don't be shocked, because that's a move. Cavani used to play with Napoli. It's a place that he would feel very comfortable. It's a place where he could play immediately and bring a little bit of. He may be able to calm the waters with some of the ultras. You have a significant talent in Koulibaly, who you have said will be allowed to leave the club previously before this great fall has happened.
Everybody's looking at Chelsea, too.
Don't be shy. Yeah, and Chelsea. The Chelsea rumor is interesting. They have the cash to do it, obviously.
Mm-hmm. And they're allowed to play reindeer games now.
But the thing is, though, is that they can bring just money. But if Napoli can send Koulibaly, that to me is the more valuable move for PSG. That's my 2 cents on the matter. Don't completely discount Napoli in that conversation.
Yeah, I can see it.
2 more really quick things with Manchester United, since we've been piling onto them all show. Marcus Rashford's back, according to The Guardian, was giving him such pain in the days leading up to his fateful appearance against Wolves that he was struggling just to sit down for an interview.
That's the desperation of the times in Manchester United right now. I think some people are taking shots at Ole about it, and I think you need to have more information before you go there. I don't know the whole situation, but it's desperate times.
What's Ole going to do?
I mean, I don't know. Ole pushing him and shouldn't have played him in that. I think is what people are trying to go with.
No, yeah. I'm with you. I understand.
I don't think Marcus was like, no, I'm not playing. Ole's like, oh, you think you're not playing? You're getting out there. I don't think it was like that. Can you see Ole being like that?
No. I think if a player says, I'm good to go, Can I count on you? Yeah, I'm good to go. And, if you as a player have to stand up and say, I'm not good to go, coach.
Yeah.
I'm not going to play.
I don't think Ole is Bud Kilmer.
No.
I don't see Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's Bud Kilmer.
So then Ole would just go wandering off into the mist at the end of the
No,
season.
he's not going to demand. Like, Marcus Rashford's not going to come like, Coach, man, I'm really having some problems with my back. I don't think I can go. You're going to play. Ole's not going to do that.
No.
Can you imagine? The guy's always smiling. He's a good
The player has to make the choice.
One more before we go from Manchester United and before we kick more dirt on them next week.
Man, it's all Manchester United enter today.
Gary Neville has criticized the club's recruitment, saying things are, quote, going to get bad, end quote, at Old Trafford. They've made some terrible investments in terms of recruitment. It's all coming home to roost. This is going to get bad. The next 6 months are going to be really difficult.
He's been saying this for a while. Yep. He nailed it about the lack of leadership around the young core. He's got his finger on the pulse of it. Somebody's got to change it. I mean, that's what it's down to at this point is somebody's got to step in and realize that Ed Woodward has ruined things at this club, and they're not going to magically get better.
Nope.
It's not going to be a managerial change. It's not going to be signing a new hot young guy. It's going to be about getting some veterans in there who can help mold this young core and just making some smart signings and not blowing money like it's going out of style.
You're going to have to rely on your academy to develop talent.
Probably got to rebuild an academy.
Yeah, so you're not just buying players and getting caught in that loop. You're going to have to develop players. Man U has a history of doing that. They just need to, it's going to require some patience from the supporters. It's going to require some patience from the board. I don't know if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to be the long-term answer there. No, but
I don't know. I don't think so.
Right now answer.
Yeah, he can, I think, be a big part of rebuilding the culture, and that's an element to it. I mean, you see it happen from time to time where is he a manager who can win you Champions League and Premier League titles? Maybe not. I don't know for sure because we haven't seen him in the situation, but is he the guy that can help them get through this rough period right now? I think he can.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think it would be pointless to bring somebody else in before it's time. It's a little bit of what we're seeing with the Atlanta Hawks right now, where Lloyd Pierce is a guy who's known for developing young talent, and that's one reason why he was hired. And the question that I've always had is, can he go from that to being a guy who can win you championships? Mm-hmm. And you don't know.
We don't know.
But they're not winning championships right now.
Nope.
So if you have a guy who can win championships but he can't develop young talent, it's the wrong guy for the job. Ole can build the culture, and I think he's a big part of that. and we'll see if he can be more than that. If he can't when the time is right, move on.
And I understand Man U fans, I really do, because if you look down in London, you've got a former club legend running a club right now.
Well, but here's an interesting one, and this came up on Sky this weekend. It was a really good clip. So when you have the situation with Frank Lampard and the losses that they've had lately, you're not getting the lamps out hashtag going. You're not getting the lamps out movement going.
No.
You're getting the Ole out. Now, Ole's been there longer, just over a year now, I think. But why is that? And does that change is the question.
I think that it happens because, again, the Man U fans, their expectation. I think Chelsea fans feel that they've been nuked by the league in some ways with the transfer ban, so it's justifiable. They feel that there wasn't a culture fit with Maurizio Sarri.
They were also like Sarri out at this point. And it's like, really? Sarri did better than Lampard, but you know.
Right. But the thing is, though, is that I think Chelsea can sort of explain away their issues. And with United, it's been bad for so long. And it's been such it's an observable decline for so long that they, at this point, they're running out of answers, but they keep throwing out the wrong solutions. So it's just something where they're going to have to solve it. They're going to have to be patient, though. That's how you solve it. First of all, with patience.
Yeah.
Don't be like Milan.
Yeah, don't do that. That's going to do it. That's going to wrap us up. So
I'm starving. I got to eat something.
All right, you eat.
Yep.
I've eaten some. I'll eat some more. John has run away.
He ran away.
He might be back. We don't know. But that'll do it.
Okay. Guys, until next time, thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate everything. The Brewhouse, 9,247 televisions for your viewing delight, and they have culinary wonders to behold, I promise you. Fantastic drink selection as well. Come out here, tip your waiters and waitresses, and until then, ladies and gentlemen, mucho euro, y'all.
All the lira.